Good afternoon and welcome to the City of Glens Falls Water and Sewer Board meeting. It's Monday, February 10th at 2 p.m. We have first on our agenda is public participation. I don't see anybody here from the public, and so Peter, if somebody online comes up to you and puts a hand up or has a question, please interrupt me and wherever we are, and maybe we'll come back to it real quick before the end of the meeting so we can take any questions. Very good. So next on your agenda, we're only on number 2. Chris, there is no public participation, so it's good. We had a quorum, and now we have even more of a quorum. That's great. Thank you. So the stormwater moment is a one-pager in front of you about connecting the drops of stormwater. What does yours contain? You know, soap, nitrogens, pesticides, brakes, dust, leaves, mercury, motor oil, cleaning chemicals, bacteria, paint, antifreeze, fertilizer, household chemicals, industrial byproducts, pet waste, solvents and grease, and grass clippings, trash and debris, sediment and heavy materials. Want to make the one reminder, it's almost like monthly that we do this, to keep these things out of the stormwater drains throughout the city. I know myself that before I became mayor that I didn't recognize the tie-in to these things, washing my car, anything. I never thought twice about sweeping in grass clippings into the stormwater drain. Now I see what a huge problem that is, but I just didn't know it. So please keep that in the forefront of your mind if anybody from the public is watching. We want stormwater free of these things and let it so that water can go right back into the lake or and not hurt the environment, or lake. Listen to me, into the river. Let's see. Billing issues. I don't see anybody here from the community and don't have any ongoing billing issues, and so that's that. If anybody does, they can come to us and we'll resolve them. Under resolutions, we have 2 quick resolutions. One is the approval of the water and sewer minutes of January 6, 2025 meeting. Does anybody have it? I know the minutes are in our packet. Does anybody have any questions about the minutes or adjustments, corrections? Not hearing any. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And the second is approval of the warrant. Again, same kind of question. I know everybody's received a copy of the warrant and looked it over. Does anybody have any questions about this warrant? No?
Motion to move.
Motion to move. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Next is the discussion about the electrical switchgear. The first thing I'll do before I ask Chris Miller to just come up, and he's going to show us some slides. And Peter, you can then turn it when we get there to so you can see this. But overall, I got the report and had a conversation with Bill Norton. We couldn't have hoped that this replacement of this gear went any better. Remember, we were really concerned when they got here that this might be more complicated or take longer. The fact they came in Monday morning and were gone Friday morning. Yeah, I got the email Friday morning, but that's so. That looks fantastic, and we're up on our switchgear box, and it's operational, and it's fantastic. So, Chris, I'll turn that over to you if I could. Just have you stand in case there's somebody wants to see your smiling face from the public.
Okay, so what we got going here, this is the old switchgear system. It's 40 years old. There is nothing digital in this. It's electromechanical. It is fully, it's old. This is like going from a carburetor car to what we're driving now with fuel injection. You've got your switches on the front here. We have a tie in the middle. These are the transformer breakers to isolate the system. What happened was the original switchgear where this tag is caught on fire during normal operation. This is kind of a known problem on these units as they age. We have changed this equipment out a couple times during the last couple of years and installed new switch gears. You remember, we got it working. HVES was great working with us during this. It was determined that this has gone beyond its useful life at that time, and that HVES had a new piece of switchgear that was used in jail for 2 years and it sat there for 2 years. It has an outdoor encasement on it, and we're putting it indoors, so that's going to protect it very well. You can see here we cut a hole in the side wall. We basically took the paneling down. They used the lift to go in and bring the equipment back with hydraulic lifts and rollers.
This is at the bottom of the hill,
This is
right
looking
before
down
you
the
turn.
hill as you come down into the plant. And Roselle brought a crane in for the operation to lift this equipment. The equipment's estimated around 12,000 pounds on this. Temporary wiring was done. You can see what we've done on this is we removed the old leads from the substation. We connected it to a generator system. Very neat, very clean job. Protection area, everything was cornered off to keep people out of there on that. All staff was told to leave everything alone, do not go near it. During this time, we coned it off, everything we could do. Old switchgear being pulled out. Crane took it up on there. We really had no problems getting this out. This was done by, they started at 7, they were done by 1 in the afternoon. Had everything cleaned out of there. And that is the old system right there. As I said, you see just the age of it. They're still using dials for voltage readings and amperage coming in and everything like that. We had to have a frame built underneath as the connection points did not match up with the old equipment. So what they did is they built a 16-inch frame that would lift the unit up. We had plenty of room on the ceiling. The unit was installed. We had the wiring change going from this unit out to our transformers. So that's all new wiring there. As Gus said, why would we put new equipment in with 40-year-old wiring on that? They did a phase check, make sure everything was the same on that. The lift was to be able to move the wiring around underneath to the appropriate spots so that it gives plenty of room to work and gives plenty of room to be able to tie the equipment in on there without having to do any dangerous bends. That's the transformer work they did. Neat, clean, exactly how we wanted to see it. New equipment arrived on Thursday morning.
2 panels?
2 sections
2 sections.
on that. One section is the switching. The other section is the transformer connections. So these are our transformer connections. This is the switching piece. Where the other one had the transformers on ends, this one has everything lined up right together on there. Everything is enclosed, everything is internal. So you use a battery system to activate your switchgear. That is now inside here, so it's not exposed out there as a danger where anybody could bump into it, drop something across there. Everything goes internal. This is outside shielding. For some reason, if there's a leak on the roof, anything like that, it's not going to affect this equipment. This equipment will work. As if the other one got craned out, this one got craned in. This one was 14,000 pounds going in on that. And they dropped it down, same thing they're doing. You can see the hydraulics that are holding it up as it goes in. Then they just took that and manually pushed it in. They used a lift just to get that back up to get it the rest of the way in on there. That's some of the controls on there. Right now we have automatic switching. So this is the line 3, the preferred line by National Grid for us to run on. This was the testing. When we got to this point, we tested it back and forth. Everything works good. Then we looked at programming. Originally this system was designed that if this 3 line's running, we lose power, it would go to the other line in 5 seconds. Once it switched to the other line, it would keep looking at this line. If this line came back up, it would switch back. I didn't like that idea. We could be switching back and forth. 2 weeks ago, there was a line fire on line 8, and we were running on line 8, and we could see voltage going up and down, which would have kept switching it back and forth. We didn't want that system. So we've redesigned the system on the programming to, if line 3 goes down, we switch to line 8, we stay on line 8. We don't have to do anything. 5 months later, for some reason, line 8 trips, we just switch back to line 3 automatically. We don't have to do anything with this. If National Grid calls us and says, we want you to get off a line, we can go in, manually change everything very easily. Just put in manual, flip that up, turn it, you're locked in. That's all it takes on this.
When you say redesign, you just reprogram
We reprogrammed
the
everything.
system so that it doesn't
Make it-
switch automatically.
Make it very basic, no automatic. It will switch automatically from one line to another if we lose voltage.
Okay.
It will not go back.
Okay.
It will just stay there that whole time till we either lose power or we force it to go back.
Okay.
That grid like that, because they didn't want to see the bouncing on their line. I liked it because I didn't want to see the bouncing on our equipment here. There is a 30-second delay before the change. I'm sorry, 60-second. That allows all the equipment to spin down. So our blowers and stuff spin at a very high rate. It takes a long time for that to spin down. That way nobody starts a piece of equipment that's spinning still, which could damage the equipment. I just went through, looked at it. It's clean. Very neat job on there. A lot different internally, this system than the last system. Just ready to control, everything's digitalized. We can see our voltage coming in. We can see what our amperage is going out on this equipment, so we know what our amperage is. We did run a generator for 5 days on that, receiving diesel fuel deliveries each of the first 4 days to refill our generators. And just another shot of the controls. This is running live now. Once that was done, we went live on one side. So we operate on an A and B system. We put the B live, National Grid. At that time, we unwired the generator. Then we put A live out there to the plant. We really had no problems at all. This was a very smooth operation all the way around. And that's the system now.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought the switch gear was going outside in the new building there.
Okay, so what this was the old unit was 34,500 volts down to 4,160 volts in the yard. From there, this switch gear gives us our AB setup. We come over to the 480 volt transformers. We can't go from 34.5 to 480 yet because that's part of the electrical equipment. So when this system failed, we had to purchase something to get us from 34.5 down to 4160. That's what this equipment does on here. The hope is when we get to the electrical upgrade, National Grid they're reviewing the project. We want to go from 34.5 straight to 480, eliminating this equipment.
Oh,
I don't know when we will get to the electrical project.
okay.
But this is the fill-in for that at this time.
Okay, yeah, good, thanks.
Great.
Actually, I'm certain there are alarms when it switches that alarms, something.
The lights will go out here. We'll know instantly if it does
Yeah.
an automatic switch. It's a 5-second sense, 60 seconds before switch. Once it's switched, it'll stay there. Lights will come right back on in here. Heat, lights, everything will automatically go. The operator, he'll get alarms throughout the entire plant.
I
And then
figured
he will,
so.
first thing they're told to do on a power outage, call the on-call manager. And we'll come in, make sure everything's set up and running again. On that. We also call the regional for National Grid and ensure that the power is going to stay on the new line, and let them know that we've switched lines. On that.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a good job by everybody involved, Jason Bylander, Christian Sakala, myself. The maintenance guys handled fueling, our electrician was out there the whole time. Everybody did an excellent job all the way through this process.
Pass on our
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I will, thank you.
Thank you. So next steps in that are, one is we'll get the final bills. Another is later this week, there's a meeting with the insurance company to see what, if anything, they might be willing to, might be eligible for insurance on a 40-year-old electrical system. We'll see. So we'll get the bills. We'll see what will be paid for under the 2024. Water and sewer was running under budget, so some of the cost of this, if the insurance, assuming that the insurance doesn't cover a lot, then we would take some money out of the what was coming in under budget in 2024 from the water and sewer budget. And we would also take some ARPA money and then see what else is left. Would come out of the 2025 budget. But till we know, we have no idea financially what we remember we had a tentative budget of $1 million for the equipment, for the diesel, for the generators. And then we built in some, if this doesn't work right away, right? So everything, as Chris just reported, went as smoothly as possible. Great job to the staff. Great job to the electrical. What's the name of their high
voltage electrical service.
Voltage electrical services, and so that's great. So that's where we are. We'll probably know hopefully within a month of where we are of again the bills, everything, the generators returned, all that. Get all that in, and we'll come to you and tell you where we are, and then we'll go from you to the Common Council and let them know financially, where this money is where you recommend this money be pulled from. Okay, so that is that. We're about 90% done with the entire electrical engineering system. Hoping to have that in April, and then we're current estimates, but we'll get final is about $14 million. Then we'll look at go back again at grants and then go to the Common Council with your recommendations as to how to address that. We'll look at 2025. There is some bonds that are water and sewer bonds that would be coming off. See what that can be picked up with grants too. I want you to know that I've spoken to the governor's office, and we are also meeting with the DEC, who's we've been meeting with them. It's kind of a separate thing, but it's related. DEC is questioning Queensberry's new have several new housing projects that would start to use more of their capacity. In the past, they've purchased a long time ago 1.5 million gallons of capacity. They use about half of that currently. They're kind of shocked that the DEC is even questioning them about using 10-year-old purchased capacity. But DEC has some newer employees that are saying, well, the regulation's been there for a while and we haven't interpreted this way, but we want to know what Queensberry you're going to reduce in I&I. Queensberry is saying we don't really have a traditional I&I system, and Glens Falls is we go to Glens Falls. And so we had a meeting with them in the town of Queensberry. We had Assemblywoman Carrie Warner at that meeting. We had representatives from Senator Dan Steck's office, Assemblyman Matt Simpson's office as well, because it's Queensberry, and that's where Carrie's Carrie starts in Glens Falls and Matt goes from Queensbury north. So we had all them there. We had a good conversation with DEC. We're trying to pull information together. And I said to them, look, if you just gave Glens Falls a mere $40 million, we could buy the electrical system that we need, put in some holding tanks that would allow us to stop all overflows, right? And that is the third part of our, remember the old, sorry, what are we calling it? It's long-term control plan. And DEC, they didn't laugh, so that was good, right? But I said, look, the Queensbury community and Glens Falls community are trying, as the governor has asked, to create housing, and we are, and it would make sense that you help us with these initiatives, right? These long-term, I reminded them of the over $30 million in the last 15 to 20 years that has been spent on the city of Glens Falls' infrastructure, separating out storm and sewer water, which is why we met the needs of that old long-term control plan. And they were impressed with the work that we're continuing to do. They didn't know about it, meaning they did. Well, the people that were on the call didn't know that Glens Falls is continuing to, every time that we pave a road like Dix Avenue, that we're going down and separating out storm and sewer water. We did the same in South Street, South and Elm, that project this year. So not only did we use DRI money for the above ground, the paving and the sidewalks, but that we went in underground before we did that and separated out storm and sewer. And so they said, put that together and put it in a proposal and we'll see what we can do. So that's where we are. But these things are obviously, as you know, these are long-term needs of the water and sewer and water and sewage treatment plant and our infrastructure, and electrical is part of that. And so that's where we're at. No decisions made yet, other than good news today that the electrical, this control panel that we had been having trouble for, is it 10 years? Right? So under Mayor Diamond, we had one of those fuses blow, and I think it was about $11,000 every time we seemed to be switching from 3 to 8. It was melting that because we're operating on a 1987 electrical system. And then I think it happened once again. I don't think this is the first time it's happened under my administration, but I think at the very end of the Mayor Hall's administration, when I was preparing to become mayor, was when the last time we blew an $11 million fuse. And then this time, not only did we blow the fuse, but we melted the entire box and panel, which needed to be replaced, which is what we've done this past week. So this is not new concerns. I know it's not new to you, but I want to remind any of the public that's watching or anybody who's interested in our minutes that these are not right. This is all part of that 2013 long-term control plan that the city was faced with. We've done great progress, but there's still a lot more to go, and the electrical system is part of that. Again, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I want to remind us all and set that table for our future conversations. Okay?
Why doesn't insurance company pay for that project?
Well, they haven't said no yet. They said that as insurance companies do, the first thing they say is, well, we don't know if it's covered, and they're maybe it could have been. I don't have that answer, but I will as soon as I know exactly what's going on. But I think that it's standard operating procedure that insurance companies say no. But they haven't given us specific examples. We're going to have a meeting with them later this week.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, you're welcome. Wish I had a better answer, but I don't. At one point they were telling us that not to remove it because they couldn't get here in time, and we're like, no, this thing caught fire. We need to do this, and we have a replacement, and we need to do it. So you know, I think that they live in that world, and that's what they do, is look for reasons to not pay for things. But other than that, I don't have a good answer for you. But we're prepared not to. We were under budget quite a good amount in 2024, which is great. And that money we used for the $300,000 already of this. And we have more, but we also have ARPA money that we've set aside for this. And so, and then there is the 2025 budget that we could adjust if we need to make sure we're covering it without borrowing. We're definitely not going to need to borrow any of this. And so that's good. And that also, you know, now this is one less worry while we continue to get the full engineering done of our entire electrical system, which we spent about $800,000 in ARPA money to do. And then second, how do we get funding for this, the long-term need, right? Okay? All right. Let's see. So if there's no other questions about that in discussion, I do not believe we have any personnel issues in front of you. I do not believe we need to go into executive session unless somebody else has something I'm not sure of. The next water and sewer workshop would be next Tuesday because we moved this back one day. I don't believe we need that water and sewer workshop. I'm hoping to have for you that financial information for your consideration on Monday, March 3rd. And so I'd like to make that the next water and sewer, the full board meeting. I know Woody and Ron can't make it, so we need to make sure that three of us are here so we have a quorum. Okay?
Third, you said?
March 3rd, 2 o'clock. Okay. And if for some reason something comes up and you can't, let me know ahead of time and we'll reschedule the meeting because we'll definitely need to have one around that time if that date doesn't work. Okay? All right.
You said we are not having the Tuesday, February 18th meeting.
Yes,
Right.
I believe so because it's literally only a week away. We just gave a full
I'll let Megan
update,
know.
and so we're gonna not hold that unless somebody knows something, that agenda item that we really need to do. Not hearing any. Do we have a motion? So that's the next meeting is Monday, March 3rd, and then do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Peter, did you, before we adjourn, I apologize, was there anybody online? No.
There is people online, no question.
No questions. Great. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.
How's it going?